Good day, this is James Brown. This is my assignment number 2, Evaluation Strategies for course PIDP 3260 Professional Practice with instructor Christopher Carroll. Good day, this is James Brown. Assignment number 2, Evaluation Strategies for course PIDP 3260 Professional Practice with instructor Christopher Carroll. Today we'll be discussing the different evaluation strategies, ones that I've used initially in the past with my Food Safe program, and the ones that I'm going to use and employ from my research based on this assignment, as well as the fact that I'll be going into longer teaching programs that will be from anywhere from 8 to 6 weeks to full semesters. So I will need to use different types of evaluation strategies to be able to evaluate how well I am doing and progressing with my students, how well they're picking up throughout a whole program, as opposed to just a one-day evaluation at the end of a single program. But first, let me show you what I started, the first tools that I use for evaluating my teaching with my students. My first professional teaching was when I started to teach Food Safe Level 1 and 2 for Northern Health. They gave me this tool, this course evaluation, that is to be completed at the end of each course. And I've actually read through them afterwards because they've given me a lot of insight as to the things that were really doing well and some of the things that I needed to work on while I started first beginning facilitating programs. This evaluation is on a scale from 1 to 5 for most of the points that they brought into this evaluation. Lowest being that they felt it was not meeting the mark, and highest being number 5, that we were. It's broken into different sections about me, the instructor, how well the content is being delivered, how the classroom is set up, the comfort, and that, which is always important. The different types of parts of the design of the course, the slides and the way the lecture was done, how they felt the exam, if it was difficult, or and any types of comments overall that they want to add. There's spaces for that as well. So a lot of room for comments and information that will help me to understand what things are they like most about or least about the course, anything they would want things changed, and definitely going through the scale of seeing how well the content is being delivered and how well I'm doing, and demonstrating my knowledge and making sure I'm answering their questions concisely and all of those kind of things. Now, I have some copies of some evaluations from a previous class that I just did, just to give you an idea of what some of the information and how well they are feeling the course is going. Now, you'll see this term here with the comments about me fun and engaging, which is great to hear, but also because I've developed some types of games and interactive exercises that shows that it is producing a positive response, and they are finding it engaging. Well, I'm getting a lot of 5s, which is kind of good, but the classroom setup where I was teaching, I obviously did not like it in that one as quite as much. Let's see, look at a couple other here. Here's one more on the other side where they give the opportunity to give comments, and also tells the stakeholders that I'm following everything, closed book exam and those kind of stuff, things like that. But their overall impressions that they did find it was engaging and keeping it fun. They didn't like it. This is 5 hours, so I do try to shorten things, but we do the best we can with the time we're given. And no ideas for changing there. Nice little comment to say thanks a lot. But this gives me an overall view for my one-day program. Now I'm going to be transitioning into teaching much more longer programs and courses. So I'm going to need more evaluation feedback on how well I'm doing. The students are picking up my information and content. So I had to look at other strategies that I can use to be able to help with that. So let's go through some of those. So in a lot of the coursework I'll be doing, I'm going to be working with a lot of students that are just getting back into the trades or work readiness, development, working on rebuilding growth and self-esteem, advocacy. So there's a skill set component, but there's also a lot of life skill components. And it's important for me to know how well my students are doing and how much they're actually picking up, because they do have a lot of challenges. And so when I was doing my research, I came across Larravee's Transforming Teaching Practice and Becoming a Critical Reflective Teacher. In that book, she talked about developing the practice of self-reflection, right? So I'll read the quote here. The challenge of effectively managing today's diverse classroom involves self-reflection as well as critical inquiry. So by developing self-reflection, teachers become more cognizant of the interdependence between teacher responses to students and the students' responses to the teacher. And that really hit me, because that's where I do take a lot of reflection on how well things are going. So let's go further. So that critical reflection, and especially in collaboration with my students, it involves deep exploration process that exposes unexamined beliefs, assumptions, and expectations, and makes visible our personal reflective loops. Becoming a reflective practitioner calls teachers to the task of facing deeply rooted personal attitudes concerning human nature, human potential, and human learning, which is a lot of what getting them to their full potential is where I want to get. I want to reach these people to teach these people, right? So reflective practitioners challenge all the assumptions and questions about practice, thereby continuously accessing new lenses to view their practice and alter their perspectives. So using new and different forms of evaluation helps me to build and understand how well I'm doing in the courses that I'll be teaching. So one of the strategies I found was writing a letter to the next year's students. I found this in Larravee's text there, and this is a great way for me to see the overall end point of the course and find out, as they're writing to the next year's students, what they found was strong or strengths and where they found there was weakness in the course itself. And I'll read some of the information from here. Best to prepare for the course and anything they wish to know before the course started, and this will help me and benefit me for the next class. This provides me with an indirect evaluation of my course, and you could use this information to show the next year's students. So one advantage of this form of evaluation is that it focuses students on the course rather than on you as a teacher. So it's sometimes understanding the context of the course and how we might have to restructure it as well. We'll get information on that. And for my collaborative conversation I had with Chris, we discussed focusing on like a group discussion. So a focus on a group discussion is a session with your students, and it's likely to take more time than the approaches detailed above. It's important to bear in mind that this approach does not provide students with anonymity. So everyone's going to be sharing, but of course everyone knows who and what you're sharing. It may be dominated by more confident students. We do have that issue at times. But however, this approach can support a more detailed dialogue between me and the students, us and the students. It can enable you to see clarification on student perspectives, to establish how widespread the learning issues are, and to discuss alternative ways of supporting your students in learning. So I also needed some context of what are these things I want to know? Like, what are some of the questions I can ask? So in Brookfield's Becoming a Critical or Reflective Teacher, in another resource I found, he talked about critical incident questionnaire. So this is a set of 5 or more questions designed by Brookfield, Becoming a Critically Reflective Teacher, which aim to understand your students' learning experiences and help shape the future. So I got more tools available to me. And let's go through some of these questions that he had suggested. So some of the questions we can use and ask to get the information that we're looking for in our courses that he had given us. Let's go through some of them. Ask them, at what moment in class did you feel most engaged with what was happening? What moment in class were you most distanced from what was happening? What actions that anyone, the teacher or student, took that you find most affirming or helpful? What actions anyone took that did you find most puzzling, confusing? What about the class this weekend surprised you? Well, this one was on a weekend example, but you can use any time frame you want. This could be about your own reaction to what went on, or something someone did. So this is an opportunity for students to get those questions that give them the opportunity to be self-reflective and give me that information of what they really felt was working, what engaged them the most, what kind of separated them, what they felt was a little boring or could use a little spicing up, what things they felt were confusing, and then I can figure out how to get more clarity on those topics. So these are great questions we can either do in the forum or at a questionnaire at the end, right? Now this is all great information, and this is going to tell us a lot, but I mean, day to day, we need to know how well our students are doing as well. In The Skillful Teacher, Building Your Skillful Skills by Jay Sapphire and Haley Specka and Art Grower, I found some great information about that, because my concept, that reach to teach, I got to know I'm reaching them, so we got to get inside the students' heads. Skillful teachers know when students don't understand and determine what they don't understand. So I want to explore some of the strategies here. One in particular, I don't have time to go through all of them, but this one really, it's about the behaviors and what we pick up and making the student thinking visible, as they put it. So far, there's been examples of checking and unscrambling student behaviors as a way of knowing what is going on inside their heads. However, there is a much broader way to make their thinking visible. So making it visible, structuring your class so that student thinking is regularly, you see it on display. So here's some of the expectations we have for the teachers and the students' behaviors that will get more responses out. So in the classroom where students' thinking is visible, so teachers' behaviors, is what we should do is we ask students to explain the thinking behind their answers, so we get more clarity that they're actually picking up some of the content. Ask students to make connections, what other students are saying, whether they agree or disagree, and this also helps more collaboration in the community environment in a classroom. Ask students to add to another student's comment to facilitate dialogue, to get the conversation going. Ask follow-up questions, so we check for understanding, and allow students to struggle and dwell with the students' thinking, sticking with them through everything and following through on everything they need and their needs. And the students' behaviors that we want to see are that, well, not doing the majority of the talking, but they're talking, they are, as a group, doing the majority of the talking. So they're learning and they're evolving with the course subject. They would be expected to explain their thinking. They're willing to admit if they're confusing, keep it a nice atmosphere so that they get asked, I'm confused, I'm not knowing. And so we're challenging their thinking, and we're non-judgmental. Take initiatives to explain another student thinking, and that's really great. It shows they're working together. So sometimes a student is trying to get a point across, but they're helping to clear it up for them. So all in all these strategies and these different forms of evaluating throughout my program, at the end of my program, it's going to help me to understand how well I'm doing, how well my students are picking up the information. The stakeholders will know that the success of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and this will help me to become continually more well-rounded in learning and becoming a stronger educator and really meeting the needs of the students that I work with, and knowing that I'm meeting the needs because they're telling me. And they're also telling me what they're missing, and it's going to help me to be able to fill in those blocks so I can reach and teach everybody. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you have a great day.